a tiring job. Right, something a little different here. I've unpacked the 3D transducer for my Lowrances, and let's just take a look what you get. Firstly, you get this big transducer. You'll note with the 3D transducer the power cable comes out the top, so you need some fancy brackets. That all comes with the unit too, so if you have space on your transom and you can just mount it straight on the back of your transom, that's perfect. In my case, I have to use the transducer shield and saver. This is a wedge, so under my Ranger I've got a little step. So I use these wedges just to get that angle perfect. Okay, so that's where my transducer is going to be mounted. Then you have the 3D structure module box. I have no idea what goes inside here, so it's obviously some PC boards or something like that. What you got is you got your transducer port 1, port 2. Those are going to plug straight in there. You're going to have a network cable that comes with the unit. This network cable is going to network my HDS7 on the console to this unit, and I'm going to link my HDS9 on the front also to this unit. So whereas we would take that network port and we would network the two units to themselves, now we're going through the hub here. And then you get your power cable. This hub needs power, so you need to run a power supply. You'll see that there's 4 colors here. What I've done is I put the red and the yellow together, and I put it on my power cable, and I always use a fuse in line with that. Okay, that's my power there, and my black negative port over here. So that's going to go to power. That's going to go into my unit. I've laid everything out on the boat. I've measured, checked there's nothing in the way, nothing's going to snag, and I'm going to mount this underneath my console. So let's check it out. One little tip to add here, what I always do is I always have these rubber mats and I put them over my deck. The last thing you want is grease or silicone or something to mess on the nice carpets of your boat. So put down some mats. You can use an old towel, you can use an old household mat, whatever the case is, anything you don't mind spilling on. Put that down, save your carpets. I'm working out of my factory, so here I have my tools all laid out that I may need for the operation. And again, I've got a mat down there just to stop any marking or anything that may happen. So at the moment I'm just taking a look at what my options are here. The previous owner had this inside here. We had a radio and a speaker and everything, so I think I'm going to mount that there, just depending on whether I've got enough clearance here from my hot foot. Then I don't have to drill additional holes in the boat. But for now, I think that's going to do. Okay, so I've checked the clearance on that, that's fine. For now I'm going to mount it here. You can see all my power is all over here on this buzz bar. Looks like a bit of a mess over here. I'm a neatness freak, so I'm going to take all of this apart. I'm going to redo all of this to get this nice and neat here, this wiring. I don't like this, all the stuff hanging here. Whenever you're drilling on your boat, always make sure there's nothing behind where you're working. So in this case, there's no pipes running here. And if you look over here, you'll see there's the hydraulic steering line. You don't want to go drill through that thing. You're going to give yourself major problems. Okay, so there we have it. Our box is in. We just need to loosen these screws a bit and we can take it out if we need. I put the power cables on this side so I can run them neatly through here and up to the power box here. And I can have my transducer wires coming out the back here and exiting this way, so it's nice and neat. Here you can see the various mounting options that you get with the unit. You get this nice L bracket that can mount on the transom, or you can get a flush mount. In my case it's slightly different, but the important thing to note is how the angle of that transducer. You want it on that water line. So if you look at the scum line that gets left on the side of your boat, sometimes when you're fishing dirty water, you can get quite a good indication of where that water line is when your boat sits in the water. Okay, so here's a clever little trick that I've learned along the way. This is my LSS2 transducer that I need to pull back all the way out to get out of the boat. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to this wire puller. that electricians use. You can get these at the local hardware store. And I'm going to pull this wire puller with this cable all the way back to the outside. Okay, so now I have a piece of wire that's running in the same route that this LSS2 is, and I can then tape my LSS3 or the 3D structure module to this and pull it back through so it follows that same route within the boat. It's not always that easy. Pulling these wires through here is probably the most difficult part about this whole episode, this whole installation, so I like to use the wire puller. It helps a little bit, I hope. There it is, all taped up. I'm hoping to pull this through. I don't want anywhere that it can snag or get hooked, so I try to do it as neat as I possibly can. There we go, we've managed to pull it majority of the way through. My wire puller, my LSS2. I'm going to swap this out with the 3D transducer cables, and I'm going to pull them all the way back through till under the console. Okay, one thing I've noticed now is this cable's a lot thicker, and obviously you've got the two splits for transducer 1 and transducer 2 for the 3D. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult to get all the way through the side of the boat, but it should be fine. If you have a different way of pulling these cables through, please share it on my Facebook page. I'd love to know if there's an easier way than doing it like this. Okay, so that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I did have to get an additional help just to pull and push every now and then, but the cables are through, and we can start connecting. Okay, so I've run my two transducers, the back here, two transducers in the back. Got my network to my HDS7 and my network from my HDS9. I'm going to put my power cables up through here. I'm going to plug them to this buzz bar, this buzz power supply here. That's all got an isolator switch, so at any time I can turn a switch and I shut off all the power to this, which is what I want. I don't want this thing carrying on. I don't want transducers continuing to tick, or anybody to walk past the boat and switch something on that doesn't need to be on. Power switch isolates everything at the back. Much safer. Right, so we've mounted the 3D transducer. Now let's just take a minute just to check the setup. So I want to just show you my setup that I have here. Firstly, I'm starting with my HDS9. I run my HDS9 in the front because it's a bigger screen, and this is where I'm going to do most of my work, is up top here. I'm standing further away from it, so I've got a longer distance to look, so I want the bigger screen there as well. You can see at the back here we've got the Ethernet connection here that runs all the way down here to the back to my head unit or my console unit. This is where I run my HDS7, and from my HDS7 I'm linked directly into the Structure Scan 3D. From the Structure Scan 3D, both the 9 and the 7 run straight into that and get all the information from there. And from here we go to the back of the Ranger, and here we can see there's that 3D transducer mounted on the back here. In my case, I didn't have any space to mount it over here with the normal standard brackets that it comes with, so I have, from Transducer Shield and Saver in America, ordered this bracket to keep it nicely in position and protected in the front here. So that's the 3D setup. So here it is, a first look at the Structure Scan 3D, the new transducer by Lowrance. It's the first time I've switched on the unit. I haven't touched a single setting, and so far it looks good. At least I can install electronics. Look at that. Pretty overwhelming with all that detail there. But I'm going to get into some areas that I know and then compare the 2D and the 3D and see how this whole 3D structure scan thing works.